One thing that I want to talk about is that level of energy and enthusiasm, and you talk about that being something that's common among high achievers. How do we cultivate that?
So one of the lines from right out of the 5 a.m. Club is one of the DNAs of legendary is longevity. So if you look at the Picassos, the Jean-Michel Basquiat, you look at the great sports champions, you look at the great history makers, they were much better at energy management than time management. And so we're in a war against distraction right now, and what we really have to do is optimize our energy. How do I do it? Well, I mean, I get to the morning routine, which the whole book is based on. But it's really quite powerful, because if you start your day with sweaty exercise, you're actually going to activate a pharmacy of mastery that exists in every human brain. I know you love the neuroscience. You're going to release BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. That's going to actually accelerate your processing. It's actually going to repair brain cells that have been damaged by stress. You're going to release the neurotransmitter dopamine, which is the fire neurotransmitter, which we all need as entrepreneurs and business builders and servants of humanity. Cortisol, the fear hormone, is highest in the morning, so exercising first thing in the morning is going to reduce that. I'm getting into my 20-20-20 formula, but I mention it because it is a way to maximize your energy.
So talk to us about the 20-20-20. I mean, you sort of started it there with the sweaty exercise, but what's the rest of that formula, which is pretty powerful?
Sure. So the new book is all about rising at 5 a.m. And that's because if you look at the great creatives and the great saints and the great humanitarians and the great titans of industry, many of them got up at 5 a.m. Even right now, you've got Tim Cook and you've got Howard Schultz, and it goes on and on. Before the sun rises is the time of least distraction. Before the sun rises, where you can build intimacy and fluency with what you want to stand for in your day. Before the sun rises, the luxury and tranquility of the early morning hours, you can do that deep inner work that will allow you to go out in the world and play at your best. So what the 20-20-20 formula is simply this. There's 3 pockets. The first pocket is move, 5 to 5:20. And you get into the sweaty exercise because, like I mentioned, it releases neurotransmitters, it reduces the cortisol, it increases your metabolic rate, which gives you more energy. So now, and serotonin as well, which gives you joy. So now it's 5:20. Fundamentally, you feel different. You have energy. Your state is strong. You've got a fire in your belly, and you've accelerated your focus. 5:20 to 5:40 is the second pocket of the 20-20-20 formula, which is reflect. We live in a world where a lot of people are busy being busy, but what's the point of being busy around climbing the wrong Mount Everests? And so clarity is one of the DNAs of mastery. You know this. If you talk to the titans of industry and you talk to the people really getting traction around their ambition, these are people who have a monomaniacal focus on the few things that matter. They have an obsession bordering on a possession around the few priorities they want to build their life around. And so 5:20 to 5:40, the second pocket, you write in a journal. You meditate. You visualize. You do what I call in the book a blueprint for a beautiful day. Or you just sit in solitude and you think and you ponder and you reflect. And then the final pocket is 5:40 to 6 o'clock, and this is the victory hour. The final pocket is grow. But if you look at the greatest billionaires, I've coached many billionaires over the past 20 years. If you look at the greatest producers on the planet, these people have one thing in common. They are ridiculously curious. And no matter how much money they make and no matter how much impact they have, they maintain a white belt mentality. One of the keys to epic performance is a relentless commitment to daily growth. So that's the 20-20-20 formula that the 5 a.m. method is built around. And the premise is basically this: as you begin your day, so you handcraft the rest of your day. And if you have consistently great days, you're going to have consistently great weeks, quarters, year, and a lifetime. So your days are your life in miniature, and you got to get those mornings calibrated if you really want to win.
When you were talking about the obsession that borders on possession, which I like a lot and I think is the thing that's missing from a lot of people's lives. In fact, I'll say that I don't think people know how to want And I don't think they know how to turn a want into a crushing need. And so people have this vague sense that they want something, but they don't know how to really cultivate that. How do you help people with that? How do you help them light themselves on fire and really commit to something?
Tom, I actually believe we are built to want. The very nature of being a human being is we are built to progress. We know that the human brain craves novelty. And we are most alive, we have the most energy, we are most intimate with our best selves when we're progressing towards our mighty mission. So I think we all want. I think what's happened on the planet right now is there's been a great seduction and a great brainwashing. When we are kids, we want. We want to be astronauts. We want to be billionaires. We want to be history makers. We want to do all our dreams. And we stand in awe and wonder. And we're full of curiosity, and we're loving, and we're passionate, and we're strong. We're not afraid to be ourselves. But as we leave the perfection of childhood, the hypnosis and the brainwashing begins. Our well-intentioned parents say, oh, you want to be an astronaut? You want to start a business when you grow up? You want to paint like Jean-Michel Basquiat? Be reasonable. And George Bernard Shaw said it better than I ever could. He said, the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in adapting the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. So that's our nature, but our parents give us limitation based on their limited psychology and their emotional patterns that they learned from their parents. Then we go to school and we're taught to live in a box, think in a box, dress like everyone else. Don't sing too loudly, don't dream too big, don't be too passionate. And then our peers do the same thing to us. And then society says, oh, genius is the realm of genetics, not everyday people, which has been dismissed by some very good science. I mean, the 10,000-hour rule that we all know from a Florida State University professor, Anders Ericsson, it just confirms so much. So I do think we all want. I think what's happened is as we've left who we truly are, we've contracted. And now it's all about staying safe in the world versus going out there and letting our brilliance, our primal genius shine. And a lot of people just have stuffed that pain of disappointment and their doubt really deep inside. And they just are addicted to distraction and escapes because they don't want to deal with their potential that they've denied.